Since my adolescence, I had to stress that never being less than being excellent is the motto I follow. For throttle, I gotta be some sort of testament. If I strive to do it, be the best at it. So testing this is rather pointless.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. And today we're going to be talking about AEW Full Gear from November the 13th, 2021. And I'm going to start with the main event because I want to look at the main event from a different perspective. Now, in the last several weeks, we've been talking a lot about Eric Bischoff. And there was this this concept that Eric Bischoff created. It's called SARSA. SARSA. And I don't know where he got it from, but I got it from him. So I'm going to give him credit until I figure out where it came from. So it's an acronym, of course. S for story, character arcs, a beginning, a middle, and end. A for anticipation, that the audience needs to look forward to something. R needs to be reality. Audience has to feel connected emotionally, but it has to feel realistic. S, it has to be a surprise. An unconventional story element, unexpected story elements. And the final A will be for action, the confrontation, combat. So he says that this is what he put into his biggest storylines. So he tried to incorporate the SARSA concept. What is going to be the realism, the beginning, the middle, and the end? What is going to be the reality-based pieces? What are the audience waiting for? And you have the surprises and all these different things. So the Adam Page story kind of had all of that, in so much that there was a beginning. The elites were friends, and this is kind of where my problem with this whole thing began. Because, and I know, a lot of people say, oh, you're an AEW hater. It's like, if you think about it logically, what purpose did it really serve for AEW to come out and tell you basically from the beginning, we're going to build the company around Hangman Page. He's the top guy. That's what we're doing. They promised Page. They promised the fans. And then they just allowed the fans to run off and do all kinds of fan fiction about Hangman Adam Page kicking out of the one-winged angel in front of a super hot crowd. Everybody's going to melt down and it's going to explode and everyone's going to be so happy. And they've been talking about this for 2 years. So, to me, when he actually did win, it was anticlimactic. Not because I don't like Adam Page, I do. It's not because I don't like Kenny Omega or I didn't like the match. I thought the match was fine. I didn't think the match was great. I didn't think it was the best match either one of them have ever had. But to be quite honest, to me, what made it anticlimactic is that there was no question whether Hangman Page was going to win or not. It was the entire promotion for this match, and I said it when during the Dynamite, when they did the review, and Kenny Omega kept just going off saying, I wanted to be the guy that sat across this table from you. I wanted to be the guy that helped you get here and get to this spot and whatever. They were just yelling. Might as well just put neon lights. Hangman is going to win. Come and watch it. Come watch Hangman win the title. You're paying to see Hangman win the title. Right? That's your anticipation element to the story. You're anticipating the part where Hangman finally wins the title. But they created a situation. And it's not totally their fault. Hangman did have to go away for a while because the baby was unexpected. This leads to the surprise factor. The surprise factor in this situation, and this is also the reality of it, is that Hangman Page got his wife pregnant. He had to go away. So they did it in a nice little swerve, or he put his title shot on the line and lost, and then came back as a surprise entrance in the casino ladder match, and he won. And then of course that leads to the confrontation, the action portion, which is the confrontation, him versus Kenny Omega. So it had the SARSA elements there, all of them, but it still fell flat because. Look, when I go into a movie, any movie, Captain America, Spider-Man, I go into these movies 99% of the chance Captain America is going to walk out of this film just perfectly fine. It's always going to be, how do we get there, right? When you watch, this is what shook people when you talk about the first Avengers. Not the first Avengers, I should say Avengers Infinity War. Yeah, was it Infinity War or Infinity Gauntlet? Whichever one it was. When it ended with the Thanos snap. A lot of people who never read the comics didn't know anything about the Thanos snap. So when it happened, and then the movie was over, people were stunned. You never go into a superhero flick thinking, hey, 50% of the superheroes you just invested all your time in are going to die. That's what made it so special. But that's also why they can't top it, right? You can't top killing 50% of the roster, even if you brought them all back later, which of course is a cop-out. But that's kind of how it is in the comics as well. Thanos snapped away 50% of the galaxy, and then, they ended up coming back. But that surprise element there, it creates so much doubt, and it creates so much angst and so much anxiety that so many people were like, oh my God, what is going to happen next? Spider-Man's dead. Captain America is, not Captain America, but Black Panther is dead. I think he died in the snap. There's a lot of people who died in the snap, and you were kind of like, wow, what on earth is going on? There were people literally crying. I was in the movie theater. People were literally crying when Spider-Man died in that movie. Grown men were crying. That's an unexpected story element where it's real to you because you are emotionally connected to that character. In pro wrestling, you have similar. It's not going to be the same thing because it's not going to be as mainstream, but you have similar story elements, right? In this story element, you were supposed to be heartbroken that Hangman Adam Page lost his title shot. That's what you were supposed to be heartbroken about. But it didn't work that way. And it didn't work at all. Why? Because somebody magically came along and plugged the hole. Right? Immediately, the moment he lost his title shot, everyone's like, oh, he's going on paternity leave. He'll be back. There was no question of, damn, they fucked him over. He's never coming back now. No. Everyone knew he was coming back. Because people online were like, Hangman will be back in, X amount of weeks. And then when he finally did come back, it was right back in the spot. He didn't have to re-earn his title shot or nothing. They just put him right back in the position where he was. And that was it. So to me, all of this was very anticlimactic. He wins the title from Kenny Omega. They booked their friend to win the title. Big whoop. Oh, he's the first WWE or non-New Japan guy to win a world title in AEW. So what? He's their friend. Like, the crazy thing is, it would be like if Shawn booked Triple H to be the world champion. It's like, oh, great. That's awesome. Shawn books Triple H to be the world champion. That's awesome, man. I mean, sure, he deserves it, and to some degree, he is very over. He is really talented, but he's not going to move the needle one way or the other. Like, I don't think Hangman Page being world champion is going to move the needle one way or the other. I don't think ratings are going to sink like a stone with him as being world champion. I don't think it's going to skyrocket with him being world champion. I mean, they did everything. Here's this made it even more anticlimactic to me. They were talking about the next Dynamite, and they were like, we're going to Virginia for the first time for AEW Dynamite. And I sat there and I was like, the first Dynamite after Full Gear is going to be in Virginia. What pro wrestler on this roster is from Virginia and wrestling for a world title? It's like, there's no surprise. There's no doubt. There's no question. You were going to give the title to Hangman Page. It's a very unique way of telling the story. WWE does it sometimes, it's pretty obvious that a guy is going to win, but they always leave just enough doubt because it's WWE and they will break your heart. That's the beautiful thing about it, though, is sometimes you don't get what you want. Sometimes Triple H wins. He beats Booker T at WrestleMania 19, even though the entire story says he shouldn't win. Sometimes he wins. And that pisses people off. It pisses people off for a decade. But guess what? Most people would not have remembered that match if Booker T had won it. People remember Booker T losing more than they remember when he actually did win it. So that means they had an emotional connection to that match, to that angle. That emotional connection. Now I'm pretty sure they would have remembered it more if he had won. It'd have been a bigger deal, especially since it was on WrestleMania. But people really have that, and that's what they were thinking when they did the Kofi Kingston thing, right? There was a lot of people who was like, "Oh, Kofi Kingston, it'll never happen." They look what they did to Booker T, and I was telling people like, "Man, Daniel Bryan's not even going to go participate in that shit." Triple H is Triple H. Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan is not going to participate in something that's going to bury Kofi Kingston. It's not going to happen, and it didn't. Everybody got what they wanted. Everybody was happy. So I also saw that. I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's been forever since WWE gave us a good babyface title chase." I was like, Kofi Mania was 2 years ago. It was literally like 2019. So it's people say and do weird things. I get it. It's not always the best because usually they like to use that money in the bank garbage, or they do the can they coexist, and I absolutely hate that. But people really don't like the chase anyway because they don't like to be derailed. And I was talking about this for the last several weeks that Tony Khan didn't have the balls to say no. What I would have done, and I probably wouldn't have done this on pay-per-view if we're being honest, because it's a $50 event. And I probably wouldn't have fucked people out of $50. I probably wouldn't have done that. But I probably would have given Adam Page his title shot. He would have lost. And then I would have did something where he had to really put something on the line, where he would have really got deep in the hole, maybe even considered picking up that bottle again, and then came out and said, "I'll put my hair on the line. I'll put my career on the line. I will be your slave. I'll do whatever, but you're going to give me another title shot. And I'm going to hunt you down. I'm going to follow you around. I'm going to bother you. I'm going to fuck with you until you give me another title shot." You got to get him to that point of desperation. And then you put him in there and he finally wins it. But I think a lot of people were so worried that fans are going to give up on Adam Page if he loses. And I kept saying to myself, it's a weird thing because, again, you always have the and then what? How long can you celebrate? How long are you going to celebrate? I don't know. A week? 2 weeks? When do we get to business? That's what this is. This is a business, And I get that the pro wrestling thing, as far as WWE is concerned, has been about moments. They always try to create big moments. I don't think they created a big moment here. And I know that's a lot of people are going to be upset about that. But you move the belt from one member of the Elite to another. That's not a big moment, as far as I'm concerned. It's not. If you're talking about building a story around the Elite falling apart, and then the Young Bucks, I'm thinking, which one was it? Matt just let it happen, just watched and said, "Go ahead, pal, win the title." And then Kenny Omega sleepwalks into this goddamn buckshot lariat, lays flat as a pancake, and gets pinned. It's like, okay, all right, I guess. It's a feel-good moment, but it felt like a guy doing the job. That's just kind of how it felt. It felt like guys doing the job. Guys doing what they told their friend they were going to do. If you really wanted me to believe that this storyline was real, the Young Bucks would have tried to fuck with Adam Page anyway. Who cares that he threatened them the previous night? Who cares that he apologized to them? They're heels. They don't have to accept his apology. It's only been 12 hours. They'd have super kicked his ass, tried to pin him, and then he would have overcame all of that. They would have put him deeper in the hole, and he would have had to overcome it. That would have been a little bit more dramatic as far as I'm concerned. What they tried to do was an Usos New Day type of thing, when the Usos forfeit and let the New Day go forward. That's what they kind of trying to do. And they also going to try to big up this falling of the Elite. Now, Kenny Omega's going to be mad at the Young Bucks for not doing anything and trying to stop this, and him losing the title. It's the Young Bucks' fault because he was right there. He didn't do nothing. Maybe. Whatever. But to me, as long as this thing is all about the Elite, it doesn't matter. And to me, that's the major issue. You didn't do anything. You put the title on a member of the Elite. And even the fans would admit to it. Oh, they were talking about being the Elite for 2 years before AEW even had their first show. So how is this a surprise? So how is this a big deal? So how is this, in any way climactic or great or grand? It went from one guy to another guy, but they're friends. And even the entire storyline is built on them being friends. So I give them credit for sticking to a storyline for 2 years, even though I think it kind of ran out of mustard right around the time Hangman Page broke that mirror, and he didn't go almost bastard heel, or even consider going heel. Instead, they did what was, I guess, part of the Sarsa element would be a surprise element, where they went anxious millennial cowboy, where he was drunk and depressed, which I don't see how that was cool or that made him sympathetic, or why anybody would find that to be virtuous or heroic or anything like that. And that's the kind of way I think about things sometimes. And it's a little brainy, I know. But that's kind of how I think about things sometimes. I think about when you're trying to build a heroic character, to fall back on Kofi Mania. What was the turning point? See, I knew Kofi was going to win the title when Vince McMahon stood in the ring and called Kofi a B+ player and said that, oh, you'll be a Hall of Famer, but only with the New Day. Because for starters, Vince McMahon came out of his hobby hole to cut a promo on Kofi Kingston. That was the first thing. I was like, he's going to win the title. They're going to put the belt on him. Because what you started to see was the heroic elements of the Kofi Kingston character come out. When he popped up and he was fired up and he started talking about 12 years, man, I've been fighting for this for 12 years. And that's really when people started getting behind him. They was like, yeah, in that gauntlet. They was like, hell yeah, you're right. This guy's all about perseverance. He's all about grit and determination, not giving up, never giving up. Sure, he likes to throw pancakes. Sure, he likes to twerk and be silly. But there's still an element. There's still fire in there. He's not completely domesticated. There's still fire in there. And he's never been closer than he is right now. And he's in the zone. And everybody wants you to tap that vein. Keep tapping that vein. Keep pushing him down. And that's what they did. They kept pushing Kofi in the hole. Oh, we got to do another gauntlet. Push. Oh, Elimination Chamber, you got really, really close. Push. You lose. A lot of people are heartbroken about that too. I used to have a conversation with a friend of mine, a guy who was supposed to help me run this channel, actually. Very heartbroken and upset that he didn't win, that Kofi Kingston didn't win the Elimination Chamber. He wanted him to win the title right there. And so many other people did too. The heartbreak is that he did not win. Vince had the balls to say no. No, it's not the time. It's not your time yet. We're still telling this story. We still got one more strike to do. We still got more work to do. You still got more to show. Got more to prove. And then we do the road to WrestleMania where they do the big gauntlet again. And then they take Kofi out of the gauntlet. They put the New Day in. They have to fight on his behalf. This, of course, is about the bond of brotherhood. It's a different story element now. Leading up to Daniel Bryan doing the job. Climactic moment. For some people, it was anticlimactic because, again, it was a situation where you kind of was told from the beginning Kofi Kingston was going to win. But it was different because there was always that doubt that it was never going to happen. There was always that doubt that he's not the guy. It's always that doubt that existed. And the doubt existed because of who Kofi was. And it could be any range of things, the skin color, how long he had been a job guy or a tag team guy in the company. It didn't seem like it would make sense that he would magically be the champion. It seemed incredibly unlikely. Daniel Bryan was the WWE's guy. They love him. Of course, they're not going to put the belt on Kofi. That's how you tell this kind of story, you know? But when everybody's friends, and we've been talking about this for 3 years already, and we've already put it out there, and we've been watching people fan fiction this stuff, and all of our friends who follow us online, who do these scrum interviews with us, who talk to us, and know that it's phony, know that it's bullshit, have they know too much about the inside baseball of this whole thing. Every twist and turn of the story is bullshit. It's not real. People don't believe in it. You can't believe in it. And I say, I lost so much interest in this story when I found out about the paternity leave thing. I instantly was like, this is fucking disgusting. I don't need to know that. I don't need to know that. You know? Like, imagine you went into, Infinity War or whatever it was called, and then the snap happens, and you just started telling people, it's all right, they'll all be back the next movie. They'll all come back. It's okay. Then everybody who was sad about Spider-Man dying and sad about Black Panther would be like, oh, okay, they coming back? Oh, all right. I don't need to be that upset then, because I know they're coming back. But all the people who didn't know, all those people who didn't know, they were the ones who made it fun. For somebody like me who read the comic book, they are the ones who made it fun. Because I know they're coming back. But it's still an emotional segment. It's still an emotional time. I can still get something out of it. That's why, some of the AEW fans are going to be really, really happy. Okay, fine. You're going to get something out of this. But I think the average person is going to look at this and be like, so what? It's not going to increase buys or decrease buys. I don't see TV ratings skyrocketing. Maybe the post, maybe a post pay-per-view bump, but that's about it. I don't see people really losing their minds or really getting too excited about Hangman Adam Page winning the world title in a situation where you essentially told them 2 years ago he was going to be world champion. Instead of maybe treating him like Darby or Sammy Guevara or somebody like that, saying, oh, Hangman Page, he's one of our 4 pillars, 5 pillars or whatever. He's one of our young boys, and then not being friends with him all over the internet and all that shit. But it was too incestuous of a relationship between Omega and the Bucks and Hangman. He's basically one of them. This meant nothing to me. I'm sorry. And I spent almost 30 minutes explaining why, with examples. I watched this and was like, okay, Kenny Omega basically just pulled a Shawn Michaels. When Shawn knew he was losing, he laid flat as a pancake, and that was it. That's what Omega did. There was almost no fight. One buckshot lariat, that was it. And he laid flat out, got pinned, and he probably got up and cried and hugged him and all that shit afterwards. That's the kind of shit they do. There's a lot of ways they could have did this and made it better, but what they did was flat for me. And then they didn't get the orgasmic response that they expected either. Because I'm pretty sure when everybody was writing all their fan fiction, they didn't expect the show to be 4 hours. Pretty sure they weren't. I know I wasn't. Like, buddy. So I decided as I was talking that I'm going to make this part of the review its own piece. So I'm going to release this separately from the rest of the AEW Full Gear review because I spent 30 minutes on one match. so we're gonna stop this here and we're gonna restart the AEW Full Gear review from the beginning with everything except Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega. So the match was fine. I didn't have any problems with the match. I think both guys did okay. Hangman Page has great fan reaction. A lot of fans support him. I think he did a good job. He kicked out. He used the one winged angel rather than kicked out of it. They kind of subverted expectations on that. But I do think that they didn't do enough in terms of drama. I think it was dramatic, as in over dramatic, but it was no drama. There was no question. There was no doubt. They didn't do enough to create doubt. And that's a very important story element that they left on the table. And they left it on the table in exchange for basically yelling at you that Hangman Page is going to be the world champion. In doing that, they eliminated the concept of doubt, which is what you need in a good drama. You need the question of, can the hero really overcome? They didn't create a situation that Hangman Page needed to overcome. Don Callis? Come on. You got Adam Cole and the Young Bucks and a bunch of other guys running around there. None of them did anything. This is the first time, really, that Omega has had a title match, and nobody else really did anything outside of Callis. So they're going to fall back with Omega and Callis turning on the Young Bucks, and Callis is going to be like, oh, you never could have trusted them anyway, yada, yada, yada. They just wanted to see you fail. All this bullshit. We'll see. It's all elite drama. It's not. It's vlog shit. It's being the elite shit. It's not interesting. I don't care about any of these characters because I have no reason to. You haven't given me anything to really care about. You haven't put these characters in any situations that I feel like I need to see them overcome that. Hangman Page being a drunk wasn't something I was, I don't have that kind of connection to the character where I was kind of like, oh, I want to see him overcome his drunken depression. I was laughing at him. I was making fun of him, and I think a lot of other people were too. You try to tell me your top guy was an alcoholic 8 months ago was very weird. There was a lot of things you could have done. You could have used this kid as a motivation. Hey, I got a kid in the world now. It's not about me anymore. When I was wrestling for the title before, it was all about me and my ego, but now it's not. Now it's about putting food on that table. It's about my son, daughter, whatever, looking at me and seeing a champion. Change your motivations. Change your fire. Change your courage and your determination. Change your entire value system. They didn't do any of that shit. They just basically said, Hangman Page is perfect. Come watch him win the title. Oh yeah, and the Dark Order will be there too. So, hey, you really fucked me over with that. All right, sorry for starting the video one way and ending it another, but I didn't know it was going to go this long. So, and since I don't really script out my videos, I just shoot from the hip. It's going to take it'll take me a little while to do these videos. That's why I be so tired all the time. But thank you guys for listening. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you guys later.